Hey, what's up, sports fans? So, Rideshare Commando here, and I want to give you some heads up. One, Caviar, Grubhub, so on and so forth. Pretty much anything but Uber Eats, I am not recommending anymore. The reason being is, unless you've been established with them and you've got some seniority, then there's no way to capitalize on the gains that you could make with Uber and Lyft driving, which is unfortunate because I don't know about you folks, but I am not a fan of Uber and Lyft passengers. It's just a freaking truth. It's like driving the people at Walmart. But still, if you want to get established with Grubhub, Caviar, DoorDash, and any of those, then they can be good. But you have to get a certain number of rides, and then you have to be Johnny on the spot when it comes to signing up for pretty much anything. Wrong road. You have to be Johnny on the spot when it comes to scheduling. And that kind of sucks. But if you're willing to put your work in and you're tired of passengers, that's one way to go. Now, as far as Uber and Lyft driving goes, I'm going to outline a couple different strategies here so that you can really get a grasp on how to make the most money with it. Okay? So number one, you got to know your city. And I know I've said this in past videos and whatnot, but you got to know your city because tourists, they love to know about places that they're never going to hear about online or anywhere else. In Seattle, I know all the hot spots, all the undergrounds, like the Knee High Stocking Club, Triple Door, Julia's on Broadway, it's a Studio 7 in Soto. And they want to know about that good stuff. So know your city, plus knowing where the business districts are and the residential districts are is key. For example, if you want those long rides in the morning, start in the business districts because there are hotels over there and motels and people are traveling in and out. So if you catch it in the morning, you're going to get people going to the airport. And with the rematch that Uber's been laying out, even if your airport has restrictions and most of yours do not, then you could do rounds back and forth in the morning. Start at 5 a.m. and close out at 10 a.m. Okay? You can make some good money. Seriously, in those 5 hours, you can easily make 125, 150. I've been doing it for dang near a year. Now, on top of knowing your city, the residential districts, those are the ones you want to go to in the afternoons or evenings because those are people going to dinner. Those are people they're not going from work to home a mile or so. Okay, because those half mile and mile rides, they kill you every time. And I freaking hate them. Now, you've got what's called cherry picking. So how you do this is basically every hour on the hour for about a week, you take screenshots. Okay? You could even do it every half hour. And then at the end of your week, just go back through those and see when the hot spots are and where they are. Start putting those into your Google Maps. Okay? Those hot spots, you can put time frames. So for example, 3:30, and you could put a ping, and that is where you go at 3:30, because that's where the hot spots have been hidden. Same thing with 7 o'clock and so on and so forth. That's how you gauge exactly where to be, Johnny on the spot. Let the newbies take those random rides, but you want to make some serious money, so that's how you do it. Ah, man, I hate this glare. But don't worry, the glare is going to pass when I hit on the freeway. Anyway, so that's what you call cherry picking. You cherry pick the hot spots and the good spots, get that good stuff going on. Now, what you can also do is fishing. My favorite is freeway fishing. So basically, you turn your app on, and when you're just standing still, you have a circle that is your radius because it can't tell which way you're facing. Like the Uber app or Google Maps or Lyft, they can't tell where you're facing, so you've got a circle. However, when you're moving, you've got a cone. You've got a wider area, and the cone is going to be rounded, and it's going to show movement. So you're going to have a wider area in front of you versus a shorter area in a circular space. Now, you can do this through highways, you can do this through freeways. I don't recommend doing it in a city unless you're just unfamiliar with it. But fishing is basically you're trolling along, dragging your dangle, and you're waiting for the next ride. I always get rides within 5 to 10 minutes. Always. Every time. Okay? And when you're near the freeway, then you're going to be getting rides that are going on the freeway usually. Now, if you want to combine cherry picking with fishing, then what you do is you have city and you have city, and then you have like dead zone. Okay? Go between the cities. You're going to pick up people in the dead zone going to one or the other, and you can guarantee yourself a 5 to 10 mile ride. Okay? That's key when it comes to making money. And I use what's called Mystro, M-Y-S-T-R-O. You have to pay for the app, but what it does is it automatically accepts rides for you and turns off the other app. That way you don't have to affect your acceptance rate if you're running both apps. Now this doesn't work if you're doing hourly guarantees. Okay, so if you're working for that hourly guarantee, don't use Mystro. Stick with whatever platform you're doing it. Now Lyft has the hourly guarantees. Uber has the zone guarantees. Okay, the zone guarantees I don't rely on, and the reason being is when you do the whole zone guarantee thing. Here we go. Woo! Getting on that freeway and getting rid of the glare. But when you do the zone guarantees, the higher the guarantee, the less rides you're going to get. So that one is basically a crapshoot. If you get a really long ride at a 1.8, yeah, you just made bank. But most of the time, you're not going to get rides at all because they know those are zones where they need to put cars, and they put that extra boost on there to attract you. But Lyft with the hourly guarantees, I mean, all you got to do is get one ride. And as long as you're getting $25 an hour or more, I would stick with the Lyft hourly guarantees if they give them to you. They don't give them to all drivers, and they don't give them in all areas. Now, one thing you want to consider too is, you gotta know the outskirts. Now, I've talked about this strategy before. It's called outskirting. So here is where the hub, where the central area is, where all the restaurants are, all the businesses, and so on. And you want to go around that area. So I want you to go onto Google Maps or look up Seattle in the map in Google Chrome or Internet Explorer. The reason being is what I will do is I will drive in Bellevue, I will drive in Redmond, I will drive in all the areas around Seattle if I want to get rides to Seattle. Okay, you can do that with major, major malls. You can do that with major shopping centers, but you basically want to get a hub of commerce where people want to go from the outskirts. Now, one thing you can do late at night is if you happen to be a relative to a hospital and you don't want to spend gas, stay near the hospital because somebody's in the ER and they're going to need a ride back. Now, it's going to take some time for you to get that ride, but usually those rides are a decent distance. Okay? These are some of the strategies I use to bare minimum. I earn $25 an hour. Bare minimum. Okay? With Uber and Lyft apps going at once, I earn about $35 an hour. So these are my tips to you. I'm going to reiterate that when I have better lighting because I know I've lost some of you with the whole lighting thing. But follow these tips. This is how I earn the $25 to $35 an hour almost always. And on weekends, I can go up to $45 an hour consistently for anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. Okay, follow these tips. I'm going to redo these tips when I have better lighting. Because again, I know I'm losing some of you just because of the lighting and you want to see my face and all the expressions I make and all that. And that's perfectly fine. That's normal. But I hope these tips help you. I'm going to give you some more tips. And I'm also going to teach you how to avoid pitfalls in future videos. Meantime, if you want to sign up for the Lyft Class Action, that is still moving forward. But remember, a class action is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So if you want to sign up for the Lyft Class Action, send the reason for your deactivation or some brief explanation, your name, and your phone number. That's all we need. To lyftclassaction@gmail.com. And as we move forward, we're going to transition all of those to the her name is Donna Gibson. She's in Auburn, and her practice, Gibson Law, is going to be handling the class action. So anyway, I hope these tips help you. I hope these tips bring you some extra money. I'll give you some tips on tips pretty soon too, because there's a way that you can leverage your local businesses in order to get more tips from tourists and from people that may not know about certain spots. So I'm going to fill you in on that too. It's a program I was piloting over in Seattle. Anyway, you folks drive safe, subscribe, I'll catch you later. And if you're a new driver, make use of those. If you're about to drive and you haven't started yet, make use of the promo codes. So how promo codes work is with Lyft, you have to use one when you sign up. But when you do Uber, you can tell them you're going to use this person's promo code and retroactivate it for the first 30 days. Okay, but that's how you get that extra $200, $300, $400 in your pocket on top of what you earn. Anyway, you folks drive safe. Catch you later. Oh, come on, turn it off.